Drake, Taylor Swift, Lisa. Three of the most commercially dominant, culturally omnipresent, globally recognized artists alive on this planet right now. Three people whose names alone can crash websites, sell out stadiums, and break streaming records before a single note plays. Three people who, by any conventional measure of global music stardom, represent the absolute ceiling of what fame looks like in 2025. Lego put all three of them in the same advertisement, and then made Bad Bunny go first. Not second, not last as the dramatic closer, not somewhere in the middle as the cultural wild card. First, the opening scene, the person who walks into the room before anyone else, the artist whose presence sets the entire tone of what the advertisement is going to be and what it is going to mean. Welcome to Pop Show Room, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. A Danish toy company, one of the most recognized brands on the entire planet, a company so globally embedded in childhood across every continent that the name alone requires zero explanation in any language, made a Puerto Rican reggaeton artist the face of their 2026 FIFA World Cup edition campaign, and placed him before Drake, before Taylor Swift, before Lisa. If you think that is a coincidence, you have not been paying attention to how advertising at this level actually works. Nobody at Lego accidentally puts anyone first in anything. Every frame of a campaign this size is a deliberate decision made by rooms full of people whose entire job is to decide exactly what message each creative choice communicates to a global audience. So the question is not whether the placement was intentional. The question is what they were trying to say and why Bad Bunny is the one they chose to say it with. For anyone who needs a reminder, which respectfully should be nobody, Lego is not just a toy company. Lego is one of the most valuable and recognizable brands in human history. Founded in Denmark in 1932, it has been present in homes across virtually every country on Earth for generations. It is the kind of brand that does not need to introduce itself in any market. Children who grew up speaking Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, French, English, and every language in between have all stepped on a Lego brick at 3 in the morning in the dark and had the exact same experience. The brand is universal, genuinely, documentably, commercially universal. When Lego decides to attach a celebrity to a campaign, especially a campaign tied to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is itself one of the most globally watched sporting events in human history, an event that will be hosted across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and is projected to draw billions of television viewers, that decision goes through a process of research, strategy, demographic analysis, and brand alignment that most people have no idea exists. They did not pick Bad Bunny because someone in the marketing department thought he was cool. They picked Bad Bunny because data told them he belongs in this specific conversation at this specific cultural moment. And that data is not hard to find if you know where to look. Let's walk through what actually happens in this advertisement, because the structure of it is telling a story that goes beyond the product it is selling. The video opens with Bad Bunny entering a room. Not a stage, not a concert venue, not the kind of environment that immediately signals music or performance. A room. Clean, deliberate, the kind of space that says something is about to be built. And then the camera shows him sitting down with the Lego 2026 FIFA World Cup trophy set, a set containing over 1,000 individual pieces that must be carefully and methodically assembled into a replica of one of the most iconic trophies in global sports. Over 1,000 pieces, each one requiring attention, patience, and the kind of focused intention that does not care how famous you are or how many streams your songs have. The Lego set does not know who Bad Bunny is. The pieces fit together the same way for everyone. You either do the work correctly or the trophy does not come together. Bad Bunny does the work. He assembles the pieces, and at the end, when the final piece is placed and the trophy is complete, he passes it. The next scene reveals Drake, Taylor Swift, Lisa, each one holding a piece of the same trophy. Now think about what that visual sequence communicates. Bad Bunny builds, the others hold. He does not share the building process with them. He completes it alone and then extends the result to three of the most famous people on Earth who receive it. The metaphor is not subtle. It is not even trying to be subtle. It is sitting directly on the surface of every frame of that advertisement, waiting for someone to notice it. Drake, Taylor Swift, and Lisa are not supporting cast members by any conventional definition of that phrase. Drake is one of the best-selling music artists of all time, with cultural influence that extends well beyond music into fashion, sports, and internet culture. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour became one of the highest-grossing concert tours in recorded history, and her economic impact on host cities was literally measured and reported by financial analysts. Lisa, formerly of Blackpink, is a globally recognized figure with a solo career that has demonstrated massive commercial reach across Asia, Europe, and North America simultaneously. These are not people who play supporting roles. And yet, in this advertisement, they appear after Bad Bunny. They receive what Bad Bunny built. The creative hierarchy of the video, the sequence of scenes, the visual grammar of who does what and when, positions Bad Bunny not as a peer among equals, but as the one who creates the thing that peers receive. That is a brand statement. LEGO did not construct that sequence accidentally. They constructed it because it communicates something specific about how they see Bad Bunny's position in the current global cultural landscape.
He is the builder, the one who puts the pieces together, the one who starts where others finish. And the 2026 World Cup, a tournament that will be played on North American soil with massive Latin American audience investment in cities with significant Latino populations, is the backdrop against which LEGO chose to make that statement. Hold on, right here. Because the last three sections just took a LEGO commercial and turned it into a cultural analysis of brand power, visual storytelling, and the deliberate construction of celebrity hierarchy in global advertising. That is what this channel does every single time. Subscribe to Pop Showroom right now. The button's right there. Hit it. Turn on the bell. Because if this breakdown of a toy commercial made you see something you would not have seen otherwise, if you are now going to re-watch that advertisement with completely different eyes, then you already know this is the channel you need in your feed permanently. The next story's already being prepared, and it goes just as deep as this one, maybe deeper. Subscribe now, then come back, because the twist in this story has not arrived yet. Here is the layer that nobody in the mainstream coverage of this advertisement is addressing directly. The 2026 FIFA World Cup is being hosted in North America, specifically across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The tournament will feature 64 matches across 16 host cities. The projected global television audience is measured in billions, and the demographic composition of that audience, particularly in the United States host cities, includes an enormous and commercially significant Latin American fan base. Soccer is not a peripheral sport for Latin communities in North America. It is central, cultural, the kind of sport that generations gather around with the seriousness that other communities reserve for religion or politics. LEGO made a 2026 World Cup campaign. They needed a face that would resonate across the broadest possible demographic slice of that global audience. They needed someone who speaks to Latin America, to the United States Latino community, to Europe, to Asia, simultaneously and authentically. They chose Bad Bunny. And now consider this. The 2026 World Cup will be the first hosted on North American soil since 1994. Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny's home, has a deeply embedded soccer culture. Latin America collectively has multiple nations competing for the trophy that Bad Bunny is shown assembling in the advertisement. LEGO did not just pick a famous person, they picked the famous person whose cultural identity is most directly aligned with the emotional core of what the 2026 World Cup represents to its largest and most passionate audience demographic. That is not marketing. That is precision. Step back and look at the full picture of what is happening around Bad Bunny's name right now. 30 billion stream songs on Spotify. First Latin artist in history to reach that threshold. A Spotify Billions Club live concert film coming from Tokyo. A Luxembourg producer winning 2 Hollywood awards for his music video. Forbes documenting $66 million in annual earnings. And now, a Lego campaign alongside Drake, Taylor Swift, and Lisa for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, with Bad Bunny positioned as the one who goes first. Each of these things individually is a significant story. Together, they form a pattern so consistent and so deliberate that it becomes impossible to interpret as anything other than the systematic construction of a legacy that extends far beyond music. Bad Bunny is not just a musician being offered brand deals. He is a cultural institution being embedded into the infrastructure of global events, global brands, and global moments that will outlast any individual album cycle or chart run. Lego has existed for nearly a century. The FIFA World Cup has been held since 1930. These are not trends. They are permanent fixtures of global culture. And Bad Bunny's name is now attached to both of them simultaneously. That does not happen to artists whose moment is temporary. That happens to artists whose impact is recognized by the people who run the largest brands in the world as durable enough to be worth associating with things that are built to last. Here is the detail that the advertisement drops quietly and that almost everyone watching it for the first time will miss entirely. Bad Bunny assembles the trophy alone. Over 1,000 pieces. He does the work. He places the final piece, and then he passes it. To Drake, to Taylor Swift, to Lisa. 3 of the most famous people in music. 3 people with combined streaming numbers, ticket sales, and cultural footprints that are genuinely difficult to calculate. 3 people who in almost any other context would be the ones setting the tone and everyone else would be reacting to them. In this advertisement, they are holding pieces of something that someone else built. Now ask the question that the advertisement is quietly, almost imperceptibly asking. When was the last time Drake was shown receiving something that another artist created? When has Taylor Swift appeared in a creative context where someone else's work preceded hers and she was holding the result rather than producing it? When has Lisa, with Blackpink's global reach behind her and a solo career gaining serious commercial momentum, appeared as a recipient rather than an originator? The advertisement puts all 3 of them in that position, simultaneously, in the same frame, holding pieces of a trophy that Bad Bunny assembled. Whether that was a fully conscious creative decision or an instinctive one, whether the director thought about it in these exact terms or simply felt that the sequence worked, the result communicates something that no press release, no chart statistic, and no streaming milestone has communicated as cleanly. In a room with Drake, Taylor Swift, and Lisa, Lego made Bad Bunny the one who builds. That is the advertisement. That is the statement. And it's sitting inside a commercial for a children's toy that most people will watch once, smile at, and forget next week. Most people. Not this community. Bad Bunny walked into a Lego advertisement for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. He assembled over 1,000 pieces of a trophy alone. He placed the final piece, and then he passed it. To Drake, to Taylor Swift, to Lisa.
And Lego, a brand that has existed for nearly a century and does not make careless decisions about anything, made him go first. The commercial is charming. The product is impressive. The celebrity lineup is extraordinary. But the sequence, the visual grammar of who enters, who builds, and who receives, that is the story. And it was never about Lego. Subscribe to Pop Showroom right now. This channel catches the story inside the story, the layer that everyone else skips because the surface is interesting enough to stop at. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, drop a comment, and tell this community, did you notice Bad Bunny went first? Did you catch what the advertisement was actually saying before watching this video?
because 1,000 pieces went into that trophy, and somehow the most important one was who LEGO trusted to put them all together.